another edition of Strength Through Stress, and this is brought to you by Top Virtual Staffing Solutions, where we continue to grow, learn, and innovate. And if you guys could, please make sure you reach out to us at any of the contact information here. You can text, call, or fax us at 866-TVSS-VA1, or that is 866-887-7821. Feel free to go ahead and follow us on our social media pages. We would appreciate the follow there or the subscribe. Right, so we move on to the 12th session. Right, so as always, we go ahead and review what the journal that we discussed last time in relation to willpower and growth mindset. And then we'll continue with stress-prone personality. And then we will have a different group of journaling, willpower, and growth mindset after today's session. And as always, if you want to learn more about critical thinking, scientific thinking, which is a very important component to all of these series, please make sure you watch what was discussed in session 6 in terms of Psychology of Stress Part 3 and also Metacognition 2. And that's what session 6 looks like. All right, we can skip through these things, but please make sure you call 911 if there's anything that you need immediately. So we're skipping through these. I've discussed this on session 6. I just have this available just in case if somebody else joined us and if they have specific questions with any of these. To all the ones, to all the people doing good things out there, thank you again. All right. And this is where we'll go ahead and stop a little bit because we want you guys to go ahead and donate to worthwhile causes. And for today's session, we focus on the roving radish, wherein they provide healthy meals out there. So if you could, check them out. Now, if you want to contribute to all of the nonprofit organizations equally, please go to our GoFundMe page, and we can go ahead and do that for you eventually. And of course, a portion of that will go to Miko's college fund here. And then at the same time, for us to be able to continue providing these services for free, we would appreciate your support in that regard. All right. And also, we just want to give you a heads up that we also have free virtual town hall sessions. One of the sessions that we had was with Attorney Nyberg, wherein we discussed immigration during COVID-19. All right. Miko, do you have any questions before we begin with today's session? Feel free to unmute yourself. Anything specific? You're on mute.
Sorry, it's
okay.
kind of slow right now. No, I don't have any questions.
You're good right now? Okay. And as always, just raise your hand or chat or just chime in right away if you have any specific questions, okay? All right. So, well, let's go ahead and review the journal from last time. And we have discussed regarding what behavior do you want to go ahead and change or modify, and what would you do to replace that behavior, and what's the outcome. Okay, so anything specific that you want to discuss here, because last time I've shared my own, and hopefully this time you can share your own. You're on mute.
A behavior that
Yes.
I want to change, please.
Yeah, what do you want to change or improve?
I want to change my learning behavior.
Okay. What specifically about your learning behavior you want to improve or change?
I feel like what specifically? I want to improve my writing skills.
Okay.
So I
Mhm, go
can
ahead.
have better notes.
All right, that's awesome. So what can you do to improve your writing skills?
I have been watching some YouTube videos about how to improve my writing.
Mm-hmm. And that's one way, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not learning from experts how to write better or to improve writing, then we will not be able to give ourselves the opportunity to do so. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, awesome. That's good. So, yeah, that's a great example. So, anything about writing that you were able to learn a little bit more, or what gave you more importance to focus on?
Paraphrasing and using of not
Using what? I'm sorry.
shortening your sentences,
What about your sentences? I'm sorry.
making them short.
Oh,
So I don't use too many words. If there's one word
hmm,
similar to a compound word, I can use that.
okay. Just to simplify at first, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And then paraphrasing so that you're not saying the same things over and over.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Really good stuff, Miko. And hopefully you continue with that and enjoy that journey of of improving your writing skills. Okay, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to willpower regarding self-awareness. Identify your willpower choices in the day, and how were you able to track the choices that you made, and more importantly, were you able to commit to these changes? So, is there anything specific here that you track regarding the choices that you made? In terms of your willpower choices. You're on mute.
Well, my willpower choice here was to continue with my schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I'm progressing,
Yes. Okay.
and
Go ahead. Sorry.
I will commit to these changes.
Okay. And you have been committing to these changes as you continue to progress with whatever the school demands of your output, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Good, good. Really great examples, Miko. So, is there anything for your growth mindset? If you're going to answer at least one of these questions here, are you trying to prove yourself correct or wanting to learn something new? Do you think failure is the outcome, or failure is an avenue for you to go ahead and learn? And are you continuously willing to learn and receive feedback? So, anything here that you want to relate to or respond to a little bit more?
Not. Well, if I'm learning something new, most of the time I'm not trying to prove myself correct
Mm-hmm.
because it's new to me and I'm not the expert. I'm not the one who knows, unless I do know.
That's a great attitude. You're absolutely correct. So, Are you willing to share something new that you have learned and you just wanted to learn whatever that new thing is? Anything specific recently?
I see. Well, I really can improve my skills with video editing. Sorry.
Video editing? Okay, because you're continuous. That's still relatively new for you, right?
Yes.
I have one more thing for you. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're learning something else.
Oh yeah, piano.
Yes. So, are you doing something new right now?
Yes.
Okay. What? All right. So you're learning something new for your keyboard, correct? With your keyboard.
Yes, I'm learning a new song.
You're learning a new song. So it's not a matter of you trying to prove yourself correct, because if you don't know how to play it, you don't know how to play it, right?
Yes.
But if you just open your mind, okay, let's go ahead and identify what chords to play, what's the rhythm behind it, and so on and so forth, and you should be good, right?
Yes.
And I assume you're receiving feedback from your tutor on how you can get better.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Good, good.
Oh, actually, can we talk about that later?
Sure, outside of the recording?
Yes.
Yes, of course, yes, we can do that. So making a
Okay.
mental note, we'll chat after the recording, yes. Okay. So critical thinking, again, the importance of intellectual standards, elements of reasoning in order to develop intellectual traits. Is there anything here specific that you want to discuss a little bit further from our last session?
I want to dig deeper with programming, specifically how Bootstrap works.
Okay, all right. So outside of what you're learning here, that's what you want to dig deeper a little bit further or gain the skills. All right, that's awesome. Yes, that's completely fine. You're using that outside of our scope regarding strength through stress. But ideally, next time, whatever we discussed last time, that's something that you can apply these things regarding critical thinking. Okay?
Okay.
So that's completely fine for now. Hopefully next time it's a little bit related to our session. It's all good. Okay? All right, good. And is there anything that you want to create, evaluate, analyze, or apply? And level of awareness for yourself regarding your thought processes? And then any problems that you could identify and see how you can develop a hypothesis to solve that issue. Is there anything, any question here or any item here that you want to share with me?
What I want to create or evaluate or analyze or apply? Well, let's start with create. I want to... Oh, I actually have two for the same question.
Go ahead.
I want to create or craft an origami that is new.
That is new? Okay.
Yes.
All right. What are you eyeing in terms of creating that?
I was thinking of creating a box of my own type, and I think I actually am progressing.
A what now? A box?
Yes.
Okay.
It kind of locks.
Oh, it's okay. That sounds interesting because I've seen you create a whole bunch of boxes already, but this one has a lock on it.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. That sounds cool. What's the second one?
I want to apply. I really want to apply my new writing skills from what I learned from the videos, like I said earlier, into my, what do you call that? Websites or web pages.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be more interesting.
Okay. And that's the most important part. You're not only learning about developing web pages, but also your writing skills. So you're not only writing codes, but also you're writing in terms of what you publish to the public, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. These are really great examples, and I'm glad you're applying all of these things to your other aspects of your life. Ideally, though, if you can relate these things to what we discussed last session, that would be so much better because it's related to strength through stress. But I guess I can imagine that you've identified that if you improve your writing, then technically speaking, you are working with stress on how to be a better writer, that it doesn't stress you out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so ideally that's how you're going to use these things in relation to this session. But of course, feel free to continue to use it in your outside aspects of your life. That's completely fine as well. Okay? All right, wonderful. Good stuff. So speaking of receiving feedback, so after we do our recording, I go ahead and ask you how was the session? Do you think you learned? Is there anything that's not clear? And as you mentioned, one of the videos that you were watching regarding writing, I think it was a writing video. If not, at least it's one of the videos that you were watching for school. Speaking of committing to schoolwork,
Yeah.
they speak relatively slow, almost one word per second. So I was listening to their cadence and I asked you, hey, is that too slow for you or is that good for you? And how do you want these sessions to go? And your feedback to me is somewhere in between with how we are so far and with one word per second. So I received that feedback. I will be somewhere in the middle. Go ahead, Miko.
No, I'm just laughing because I'm agreeing.
You're agreeing?
Yeah.
Yes, because that's the feedback you gave me. So now
Yeah.
I have to apply it. Speaking of application. Okay? So I appreciate the feedback because, again, one of the main reasons why I'm doing this is for you. So, and hopefully this is something you can continue to use or watch in the future for whatever it's worth.
Okay.
All right? Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if I'm using analyze correctly, but
Go ahead.
I want to know. It's the physics question I asked you a few days ago. Why the fly is staying in one place in the car when the car's traveling 68 miles per hour with the windows open. I'm not sure if analyze is the correct word, but yes, that's another.
You're absolutely correct with all of those. And I know we tried to figure out, and I told you myself, I am not too sure from a physics point of view on how the fly is not attached to the car. Why is it, whether it's hovering or flying around at its space? And one of the things that we discuss if the windows are closed, then the fly is flying in that airspace, and that airspace is not moving. But if the windows are open, yeah, that's a little bit more complicated. So it can't. Yeah, that's why we need to research on our own time here. I'm glad you brought that up. But speaking of analysis, that's exactly what it is. You're correct about that. So, are we ready to move on to type D personality?
Yep.
All right, wonderful. So we were discussing personality in the last session, and this is another type of personality, which is D for depression. Okay, that you are feeling a little bit sad more than a little bit longer than usual, and you are not able to function as much. Okay, that you're feeling blue, just like the shirt that I'm wearing, or the background, or unhappy, again, for the most part. And again, your level of functioning goes down. Okay? And I know you're typing in notes here, correct? But that's the other thing I need to slow down with.
Yeah.
All right. Good so far?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So continuing with type D personality is that we make mountains out of molehills. So if, for example, you are seeing human beings, but if you put a magnifying glass, all of a sudden you see problems. You see questions. So you're focusing on the problems way too much without focusing on solutions. So with a type D personality is you make a big fuss of something, sometimes out of nothing or a very little thing.
You keep complaining?
Yes, that's one of the things that you can identify. That amidst of everything that's going on, you're complaining about, why do I have this white hook on my background? It may not necessarily be even connected to what's going on. Okay? You're correct about that. Thank you. Next is being overwhelmed with responsibilities. If there's too much on your plate that you need to do or accomplish. So type D personality, for the most part, is they tend to overwhelm themselves. And if we relate that to the previous slide, every little problem, you're making a big problem out of it, instead of just focusing on the really important things that you need to address. And with that, we become overwhelmed with responsibilities.
You're biting off more than you can chew.
The what? I'm sorry?
I studied idioms in school, and you're biting off more than you can chew.
Biting more than you can chew. You're absolutely correct. And here you are, speaking of applying. You are applying what you are learning in school to this specific subject matter. And that's how you continue to develop your critical thinking abilities. Wonderful. And thank you for participating more. This is really great, Miko. Okay? So you're writing down notes and you're participating. Next is we get easily frustrated. So because we make mountains out of a molehill, then the frustration level goes up unnecessarily. So having a type D personality, this takes place. Anything you want to say there?
No.
No?
Not
Okay.
actually.
All right. Okay. The next characteristic of having a type D personality is extreme mood swings. So I'm just focusing on the swing here. You go up in one end, you go down, and you go up on the other end. And if you are in a swing, you are swinging relatively fast, right? It's not like you take 10 minutes up here,
Yeah.
and 5 minutes somewhere here. You are moving up and down, rather
And
great.
possibly going in a 360.
Or 360, but that's scary. Okay, it's on the physical swing. Unless if you are in one of those rides in theme parks. Did you ride that in we went to one of the theme parks. It has the one that goes round and round. I think you were there with me.
Yeah, but
Yes.
my eyes were shut so badly.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. I don't.
A fireball.
No. Well, that's not a swing.
Oh yeah, true.
The fireball is just going round and round. I mean, kind of acts like a swing, but there's this thing that like a swing. We were on a ship. We were on a ship in King's Dominion. Remember
Oh.
that? And then we were with our teammates at AAA Physical Therapy.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So that's what it is. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes 360. So extreme mood swings, when you say mood, you're extremely happy right now and then extremely sad in 5 seconds for no apparent reason. And that's what type D personality is. Clear?
Yep.
All right, super. Next is worrywart. One of my close friends before told me I'm a raisin. And I asked, what do you mean I'm a raisin? And she said, because you worry too much. You're a dried grape, just like the picture here. So yes, I may look like a dried grape, but that's what it is. And with that feedback, I just try to continue to learn from it and not to worry too much. So being a worrywart, that is part of having this type D personality.
That's very similar to focusing on. Oh, hang on. You're focusing too much on the negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts, or remember, in terms of making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good. That's a good way of you relating the subject matter that we have been discussing. Really good. Next, and you actually foresaw the next slide, being pessimistic. Remember the far side, half glass, half full. I ordered the cheeseburger.
Oh, and I don't know what it is. Oh yeah, in Scar.
Right. So here, if you're looking at a glass, half empty, half full type of person, and that's what it is. Oh no, I have a problem. My cup is not full. Well, guess what? At least be happy you have something in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So being extremely pessimistic, that is type D personality. Okay. And all of the things that's discussed above, those are negativity index. And the last slide is pretty much what it is. So with negativity index, that you are negative in too many levels, bless you,
Excuse me,
in other aspects of your life. So that's the type D in terms of being more prone to be depressed. Okay. More about type D personality. If you're extremely shy and reserved, meaning you are not interacting with others. And with you, Miko, sometimes when I hear you that you go ahead and say you are shy, I am confused. Because for the most part, when we go to a playground before COVID-19, you don't know any other kids there. And then all of a sudden, you are running around with other kids. And they're playing with you, you're playing with them. Right?
it's mostly a basketball court, actually.
Yeah, basketball court, but if you would, I don't know if you remember, when you were younger, it's the same thing. Any playground we go to, you are playing with somebody else, and then now their parents are caregivers, they're talking to me, and I'm talking to them, celebrating the friendship that you are able to develop right away. Okay? Next is not being sociable. So here you are able to connect with others, and you put a slash sign on it. So type D personality is not, and we are talking about extreme of not being sociable, of not being able to relate to others. And you move on to awkward social interactions. Yes, I've had my moments of awkward social interactions, but if this is a consistent thing, then it shows of your type D personality. So with this giraffe, for the most part, they are built to eat leaves on trees. But sometimes they have to go to the grass area. So it looks like a weird thing. Does that make sense?
Hang on.
Yes.
It looks like it's bending over backwards.
It's awkward, right?
Yeah.
Spreading the long legs that way. And then I have to go ahead and bend down. And speaking of awkward, when I got this picture from Pixabay, and again, we give thanks to Pixabay, it's entitled Zebra. The title of the picture is Zebra because I have to change the name to something that why I'm using this picture, and I changed awkward. But when I saw the original file, it's Zebra. So talk about awkward. Yes. All right. The next one is being highly reserved with other people. That you do not open up, you do not share yourself to others, even with simple things. So that's another type D personality. The next one is having issues of maintaining relationships with other people. That arguments always take place, that disagreements, and so on and so forth. So that's another characteristic of type D personality, where we are a little bit more prone to be depressed.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of selfish doing that. So basically, you just want everyone to follow your way, and then you realize that it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to defend yourself, but then
Yes.
you obviously realize that you lose in the argument.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. So for the most part, with everything that we are doing, hopefully you are not forced to go through this, that you find these sessions helpful and beneficial for you. And I'm really excited that you said yes to the next class that we will be having regarding being successful or improving your chances to be successful in life and in studies, which we will be doing at 7 p.m. Eastern time, correct?
Yes.
That you saw that it could benefit you in the short run, in the short term, and in the long run. Okay? That's wonderful, Miko. All right, next one is other people are having a hard time to relate to you and to your issues or problems. But that's another sign of having a type D personality. Now, I am not saying that we should be always good and friendly to each and every person, but hopefully you are able to maintain some quality relationships that you have, and that you're able to share yourself and whatever issues or problems that you may have. So that's another sign of having a type D personality, wherein others cannot relate or connect with you as much. And a little bit related to shyness, which is basically social inhibition, that you just do not want to relate to others, or you're shunning other people. And that is having a type D personality. Another characteristic. Any questions so far?
Not a question, a comment.
Go ahead.
I think I learned this in 3rd grade.
Okay.
I think. You don't judge by first look. You judge by what you experience with that person, place, or thing.
That's wonderful for you to share. Thank you. And do you agree with that philosophy?
Well, yes, and obviously not all first impressions are correct.
You're absolutely right. Because you want to be given the chance and the opportunity
Yes.
to show who you really are, and not just one specific instance of an interaction, but a consistent level of interaction with somebody else. So you do not want to be judged that way. And so the same thing, you apply the same respect to the other individual. So let's say you are extremely hungry, or you lack sleep, and you are a little bit impatient. And then now somebody sees you like that, and then now they think you are who you are. Or the opposite, that for some reason you maybe you won the lottery, that's why you are happy. For the most part, you are a grumpy person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's a very wonderful thing that you just shared right there in relation to social inhibition.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. So let's go ahead and review. Type D personality. Okay. This is one of the many personalities that we have discussed, and we will continue to discuss the next time. And as you mentioned earlier, being negative, there's extreme lack of social connection. That's why I do not like the phrase social distancing in this COVID-19 world. I do not understand that.
It's supposed to be physical distancing.
Yeah, I know.
Social distancing is basically the thing that we're trying to avoid.
Yes. Talk about misnomer, just like stress management. It's wrong. You do not manage stressors. You manage yourself on how you work with it.
Yeah, it's physical distancing.
Yes, it's so wrong in so many levels, but unfortunately, that's the phrase that we are using. But again, that's why we have a word misnomer, because it's another misnamed activity.
I'm not sure if this is actually correct though, but I think they use social distancing as in talking. So you're keeping distance, so when you're talking loudly or something similar to that.
This is a system that we're using right now. I can be really close to you. We're still communicating.
Yeah.
But we're physically distant because we don't want the echo. Not because of COVID-19. We just don't want the echo with our system right now. That's why you are next door.
Yes, and also I need to type notes, of course. So
yes, that's completely fine. But going back to what you said, it's not social distance that. It's just the same thing. If we are talking face to face, I can still relate to you.
Yeah.
And communicate with you. We can wear masks and face cover, all right, like a face mask. But I'm still communicating with you socially. I'm physically distant, but I'm still interacting with you.
There are different types of viruses. One's in the computer and one's in the outside world.
You are absolutely correct. Yes. So both of them. Well, in a computer, all viruses are bad. There's no such thing as a good virus. In the physical world, there are
some good viruses.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we actually need. But there are some viruses like COVID-19 that can impact us. Yes, very good point.
Or the types of coronavirus.
Yes, because there are multiple types of coronavirus. Yes. I do not know what the other types of coronavirus and how bad they are, or Or is it possible that some of them are good for us? I am not sure. That I cannot answer.
Yeah. Or they're just too good for us.
I don't know about too good for us. I'm not sure about that either. So, yeah, good stuff, Miko. Thank you for sharing a little bit more of your thoughts here. And they're really great thoughts, especially when you said about not judging a person on the first instance. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So why journaling? I've discussed that in the 6th session. Let's move on to fear. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of unknown. I'm missing an N.
N. You're missing an N.
Death and dying, isolation, loss of self-control. And we will continue this specific journal in the next session. But this is what it is in terms of fear, especially what we have discussed here, and type D personality of being isolated. And we just talked about it in terms of social distancing. We can still be connected to other people with these forms of medium, over the internet, over the phone, or even writing letters. Let's go old school that way. Okay? Those can still be done. So that's why I'm really annoyed of using social isolation as a phrase, because it's wrong. It's physical distancing. But
Yeah.
we can only do so much. But that's why we're providing these sessions, so that we can continuously learn and think critically of what's the right thing to do or what's the right name to use. So going back to here, in terms of fear, I know we have discussed, for example, so many people have lost jobs out there. Do they fear the failure of landing a job or being rejected as a second bullet here? The unknown of COVID-19, but that's why we continue to listen to the epidemiologists and other experts out there. Yes, go ahead, Miko.
Sorry.
You're fine. Go ahead.
I can't remember which session this was. I'm sorry.
This is, I believe, session 12. I may actually have miscounted it, but anyway.
Okay.
Yes, I believe this is session 12. Yes, you're welcome. Speaking of the unknown, since you don't know, you raise your hand. You asked. Right on cue on the unknown without the N at the end.
Yeah. It's like, it's also like this. You don't know how to spell unknown.
Yes. That was my main objective. Do you think you know, speaking of knowing, of what's going to happen to us if we move on from this physical world? And that's what it is, the fear of it, right?
Well, if you still have your soul, I mean, maybe, but I don't want to go into the specifics for religion.
Okay,
so.
That's fine. If you want to next session, because this will be your review, it's totally up to you. For me, I'm thinking it this way, just like what Einstein identified, that there is nothing that is destroyed, it just changes form. So we have energy right now. We have mental energy, we have physical energy right now, we're moving. And then if we die, where does all that energy go? And maybe you can equate that to a soul if you want. So, but the thing here is, nobody could really know. It's hard to identify that. So, and that's what it is, that we are afraid of such things. We are afraid of being isolated. And we are afraid of losing control of oneself. And that's something that hopefully we can continue to develop. And that's why we have this strength through stress. We gain strength based on the stressors that we face. Okay? So that's the journal, and then hopefully you get to share a little bit more of yourself in the next session. All right, willpower, brain training meditation. Focus on breathing. So before this class, I know you took a power nap.
Oh, yeah.
What did I ask you to do?
I think
Before you actually napped.
to... I forgot.
What's the bullet here?
Oh, focus on breathing. You're holding my center of my chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of having 10 million thoughts. So right now, real quick, or not quick, let's take our time here. Just focusing on breathing. On you inhaling. Hold. And then exhale. Pause. And then inhale. Hold. And then exhale. And if we allow ourselves from time to time just to focus on breathing, it helps our brain, our mind, to meditate and focusing on just one thing. And as you can imagine, breathing is such an important thing. Because speaking of death and dying, if we don't breathe, that's a sign of us not living. So it is important to focus on breathing. And that's the only thing that you are focusing on. And with brain training meditation, in relation to willpower, this is going to help us to commit to the choices that you make. So for example, if you are struggling, am I going to do schoolwork? Or I'll
Take a power nap.
Power nap. Well, power nap is fine too. Everything in its own time. But am I going to do schoolwork or going to read a nonfiction book? It's fine to read a nonfiction book. That is great. However, if you still need to take care of responsibilities, you have to take care of those first, which is what the school requires.
You mean fiction?
I mean fiction book. I keep messing that up.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with me? I need to meditate more so I do not misspell unknown. And then at the same time, I don't mix up fiction versus nonfiction.
Yeah. This is how I remember.
Uh-huh.
I kind of make it opposite.
Of the
I think
opposite.
that non is yes. So it's yes fiction. And then fiction itself.
And then drop the yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just testing if you're paying attention. No, I'm not. I make that mistake with you over and over.
That's about the 16th millionth time.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. So when you read a fiction book, again, that's fine. Versus, okay, schoolwork still needs to be completed. Okay? So let's go ahead and breathe. Let's go ahead and meditate. Let's focus on what do we really need to do and accomplish next. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So that would help in terms of willpower regarding meditation. So hopefully next week you get to share with me on your own when you used breathing meditation to help you focus with whatever it is that you need to do. Okay?
Okay.
When you are torn with choices that you want to make. And that's what it is with a growth mindset. We need to prioritize reading a fiction book or finishing schoolwork right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. So with priorities, the relationships that you have in terms of work and Do they help you with your challenges? Okay. Do these relationships work for you? Okay, gotcha. And then do they encourage you to learn continuously? So with the relationships that you have right now, do they help you out? Do they help you with your challenges? Not do or take care of the problems for you, but are they there to support you with whatever challenges that you have? And here, I'm running these strength through stress sessions. Do you think I'm encouraging you to learn continuously? Do you think I'm doing that with you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's what it is with the relationships and priorities regarding growth mindset. Do they encourage you to be a better person? I know you mentioned earlier about complaining. Sure, we can complain, but are we identifying how can we make things better? Right? So hopefully with the relationships that you build, the friendships that you build, Miko, they are encouraging you to become a better person and vice versa.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes. It's kind of choppy for me.
Oh, all right. We can review it next week. All right. So again, for everybody out there, Strength Through Stress, Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Life and Learner Success. We're going to start this in the next hour or so here. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Workout Buddy. We do this on Facebook. Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And Happy Hour Videoke Scrabble. Fridays, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully this was a meaningful session for you. And I will see you next session. And again, these are the references for this subject matter. Anything that you want to ask right now, Miko? You're good?
No, I don't.
Okay, lovely. But great, really, really great responses today and sharing. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video informational and educational. Please share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If not, my dad will not give me dessert.